Hello friends, James Stevenson with a very hungry Loki. He is ready to eat his lunch right now, which is being prepared for him in the other room, if you hear any noise in the background. Welcome back to another subscriber exclusive weekly episode of James and Loki's Gems of the Week, the show in which Loki and I walk you through all the posts we liked on X and talk about why we liked them. Without further ado, let's pick up where we left off last week with Sarge Enzyme and his callback. If you're having thrust problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, so my thrust ain't one. It's just so much fun, I had to say it again. Here's the next post that I liked since last week's episode. It comes from Sindil Palani, whose name you may not know, but you may recognize this Tesla logo here. And in his bio, it says Vice President Finance, Tesla. So I am following Sindil Palani, and I'm hopefully saying his name correctly. Let's see who he's replying to here so that we know what the reply is about. It's Robert Reich at RB Reich, former Secretary of Education, I think, under Clinton, something like that. He now makes his money with a $40,000 appearance fee. So if you want him to speak at your event, if you're having a conference somewhere on Earth, you could have former Secretary of Education Robert Reich address your audience for the low, affordable price of only 40 grand plus incidentals, I'm sure. Tesla earned $2.3 billion in the United States in 2024. You'd think it paid a lot in taxes, right? Well, it paid precisely $0 in federal income taxes last year. You want waste and fraud? Look at what some big corporations and the rich are getting away with. This is the typical demagoguery, fear-mongering, and pandering to the lowest common denominator that I have seen over the years from Robert Reich. I've replied to him a number of times myself, correcting his misstatements. You want to talk about misinformation on social media? Here's a big source of it. Sindil Palani replied, Professor, respectfully, more respectfully than I am in this video, Tesla's income taxes are not an example of fraud. Tesla complies with all tax regulations in all of the regions of the world in which we operate. Details about 2024 income taxes were disclosed in last month's 10K, is what Sindel meant to say at the end of this sentence. Notably, we outline our net operating loss carry forwards, which result from the fact that Tesla has been unprofitable for the significant majority of its 20-plus year history. This has been a very, very difficult business to build. Looking at any one recent year in isolation, therefore, will not provide the full picture. So let me explain what Sindel is talking about if you didn't follow his comment. Almost every company on Earth loses money selling EVs. Tesla is one of the few companies on Earth that makes money selling EVs, and Tesla complies with the law. The law says you owe income taxes based on rules, and the rules are in place for a reason. In the US, your corporate income taxes are subject to US tax law, and that's what Tesla is abiding by. What the law says, and correct me if you're a tax accountant who knows better, is that if you lose money in the early days of your business, you're allowed to save up those losses over those years and use them like rollover minutes to cover the profits that you start making when your company becomes profitable. All right, I think I was able to cover the gist of it over the last minute before I had to break. I paused the video to feed Loki his lunch. So he's eating lunch now, and he can head back over to his bed if he wants to, and bunk down in the Loki's bed cam. You'll see him once he decides he wants to get in bed, curl up, flop down, do whatever he wants to do. We'll get back to sharing my desktop, and I'll just conclude my remarks on this by saying that Tesla has taken most of the benefit of the losses in prior years. Tesla had lost as much as $6.1 billion worth of cumulative negative net income. So if it's a positive number, you call it retained earnings. If it's a negative number, you call it accumulated deficit. And that's as big as Tesla's accumulated deficit got, a little over $6 billion. It has now turned to positive $35 billion, something like that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But most of that profit was generated by the Shanghai Gigafactory. That's the most productive factory, and it has the lowest production costs. The factory in Fremont is pretty expensive to run. You have to pay Bay Area labor rates for your wages and apply, California labor laws to pay salaried people overtime and a bunch of other weird rules like that. That make it expensive to do business in California. So Tesla is still losing money in the United States of America if you divide it up by region, which is what you have to do. If you're going to comply with the law, you have to pay your taxes to China based on the activity that occurred in China. You have to pay your taxes in the United States of America based on what activity happened in the US, and Tesla's headquarters is in the US. And Tesla's design studio is in Los Angeles. And Tesla has a solar panel factory in Buffalo, New York, that isn't making lots of money, probably. And Tesla has operations in Europe that don't count towards their US taxes, right? It's very complicated. And you have to pay a team of tax accountants to figure out what the right answer is to what do we owe each of these governments in taxes to make sure that you don't get in trouble. And that is what Sindel is talking about here, saying, hey, we're playing by the rules. The rules say if you lose money for a while, that's okay to not pay any taxes while you're losing money. Of course, there were no profits to pay taxes on in those years. And then the rules say that once you start making money, you don't immediately start paying taxes on the profit, what little profit there is in the U.S. region specifically that's applicable under U.S. corporate income tax law. You get to wait until you've made so much profit that it totally offsets all those losses, and then you start paying taxes like a normal mature company would, and not like startups do. A lot of startups never make any money. You can talk to people who have invested in startups that never made any money. They'll talk to you about it for a long time. All right, probably I should get to another post if we're going to make it through this video ever. Here's one from Jeff Lutz at the Jeff Lutz. Before anyone starts hyperventilating, Tesla builds about 99.7% of its vehicles sold in China inside of China. None of those vehicles are subject to this proposed tariff. 0.3% of vehicles would be subjected to the 15% tariff if imposed. Reposting Evan at Stock Market News. So if you saw this and you didn't see Jeff's response, China to impose up to 15% tariffs on U.S. energy and vehicles starting Monday, there has been news since then also. Trump has proposed reciprocal tariffs, which are a good idea, in my opinion. Like, I would describe myself as a libertarian. That's my viewpoint, is that smaller government is better. Government should be doing less. Let the free market do more. It's going to do it more efficiently. It's going to give people stuff they like better, because if it doesn't do a good job, it'll go bankrupt and somebody else will come along with a better product that people will want, that people will find value in, find valuable, and want to choose. That's how standards of living rise. It's not by the government spending more, it's by the free market enterprise, meaning people who have good ideas, innovating and coming up with better ways of doing things, more efficient ways of making better stuff, and that's how everybody gets wealthier together. I would support reciprocal tariffs, which are a clever way of saying, hey, foreign countries, if you would like there to be no tariffs, just don't impose any tariffs. If you don't have any tariffs, we won't have any tariffs, and it'll be free trade between our countries. And that's the ideal set of circumstances for people who live in both countries because they get to choose based on the real economics and not the artificial costs imposed by governments. I should get off that topic too. But don't freak out if you see 15% tariffs on US exports of vehicles to China, because Jeff's point is they're not buying cars made in America mostly. They're buying very few Model S and Model X vehicles shipped in from Fremont. They're mostly buying Model 3s and Model Ys made at Gigafactory Shanghai, Gigafactory 3, we used to call it. Here's another one from Jeff Lutz. Harrison Ford drives multiple Teslas, not a Jeep Wrangler. So here's a couple of photos of Harrison Ford driving his Model S and his Model X. Now, I think these are from a few years ago, and maybe he's driving something else different now, but this was a thing that I liked because everybody had just watched the Super Bowl commercial of Harrison Ford for a solid minute talking about how great his Jeep is and how much he loves his Jeep Rubicon EV, which I didn't even know was a thing you could buy. I guess there is a Jeep Rubicon. Maybe it's a plug-in hybrid. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you know if this Jeep Rubicon EV is actually a real EV or if it's just a kissing your sister plug-in hybrid. Here's one from Zangler at Hendrik Zane. Tesla's semi's gone wild in making the Giga Semi drone video. It's a semi truck. I saw way more Tesla semis driving in, out, and around Gigafactory Nevada than usual. I decided to fly the drone a second time at the pilot production line adjacent to Legacy Giga Nevada. How many different Tesla semis do you count? I look forward to a future where everyone sees as many as I saw today. So you got a bunch of Tesla semis, which is good to see. In the future, there will be a lot more. And Tesla has a factory now. Here's the retweet from Brian White at Future Aza on all platforms. What's the high desert equivalent of just a mud field? I still see jokers pretending this isn't happening, even though it's unfolding right in front of our eyes. We'd be blind without Henrik Zane taking the drone videos and posting them. So good work from Zangler and good work from Brian White posting it where I saw it. Here's one from Jeremy Judkins. The guy that crashed his Cybertruck on FSD crashed it a month ago as well. The post is unavailable now, but I saw it when it was still there, and I gave this a like. So we don't know what to think about the guy who crashed his Cybertruck twice in 2 months. If you have more information on MR Challenger with an I instead of an E in Challenger, let us know in the comments below what's going on with that account, because it sounded like a regular Tesla owner being apologetic for, oh, I shouldn't have let my Tesla Cybertruck on FSD crash itself into a post. But then the same guy also crashed it a month earlier. They dug up a tweet where he said, oh yeah, I let my Cybertruck get crashed too. So I don't know, that like Cybertrucks do not crash all that often. So unusual for there to have been 2 such incidents in such a short span of time. Here's one from Gally at G. Filchi. Can't wait for Tesla's 2028 financial statements. I am right there with you, Gally. 2025 may not be the prettiest year we've ever seen. Certainly Q1 won't start with a bang, or maybe there will be a bang, but it won't be the kind of bang investors are looking for. The Model Y refresh means you've got 4 factories globally where their best-selling model is going to be at the beginning phase of the ramp. So their output's going to be very low, meaning there won't be that many newly refreshed Model Ys to sell globally and in Q1 and maybe also in Q2. Deliveries are probably going to be a lot lower than you're used to seeing over the past year, and there won't be time to catch up by the end of the year because, though, well, maybe there will be. I don't know. Maybe we'll see amazing Q3 and Q4 delivery numbers, but it doesn't seem reasonable to expect them at this point. So 2025 may not be that great a year. 2028 ought to be a really great year for Tesla earnings. Here's one from Nathan at Nathan PM Young. What else do we have here? I've got to scroll up to give you the context here. It is about Sam Altman, and this video is going to be too long if I read you every one of these, and I didn't like all of them. I just liked this one explaining some stuff about OpenAI and what's going on there and how Sam Altman operates and what he's trying to do by changing OpenAI from a nonprofit to a for-profit, and how he's trying to make it, how he's trying to buy the whole thing, the nonprofit and the for-profit, and run it as a for-profit. Elon did gather a consortium of investors to offer $100 billion for it, and the board turned them down. So the one that I liked said, honestly, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed he has the gall to try and sell a huge business to himself at a below market rate, then mock someone else for pointing out the absurdity of it. The feminists have a word for that. It's called gaslighting, with this repost of Sam turning down the offer from Elon's group of investors who offered more than double what Sam Altman was offering to buy OpenAI. I don't know a lot about that topic. Let me know in the comments below if you know a lot more, or if you can add a lot more than what I just said. Here's one from Max DeZegger at M DeZegger on X. This is the guy who runs supercharging for Tesla. This was a bug in low coolant flow detection on our previous firmware, which causes the post to limp. The latest supercharger firmware, where was I? The latest supercharger firmware fixes this and is already rolling out. Fixes what? Well, it's Kyle Connor talking about an issue he had with slow charging speeds at a supercharger. I guess there's coolant running up and down the cables for the superchargers, or somehow or another the superchargers need to be cooled. Or maybe they're talking about the onboard liquid coolant in the battery pack of your car. And they don't want to put too much juice into your pack too fast and overheat your battery, even though preheating your battery is what you want to do by telling your Tesla that you're going to supercharge it. By routing it to a supercharger, it'll know to warm up the battery pack, send some extra heat that way through the heat pump system. So good to see Tesla being responsive on X and letting people know that issue has been addressed already. Here's one from James Catt at TeslaFanMTL. First Megapack from Shanghai has been built. I just reposted this. You can see the green repost indicator and the like. So it's both kinds of thing. I am happy to see Megapacks, or in this case, a Megapack, rolling off the production line of Megapactory Shanghai, very close to Giga Shanghai. Here's one I liked from Elon Musk. At Elon Musk, Milton Friedman was spot on. The first time I remember seeing this clip posted to X was right after I clipped this clip from YouTube and posted it on X myself, probably 2 years ago. And it just keeps getting posted by more and more people. I think Elon has reposted it when I posted it, before, but always good to let folks know where inflation comes from. It comes from the federal government spending more money than they have. The only way you can spend more money than you have is to make more money, which is what the federal government does. And that increase in the supply of money makes everybody's dollars worth less, is what Milton Friedman is trying to say there. Here's another one from Elon. Excellent summary of the game plan. Just a good video here on USAID, how people are freaking out about it, and how people who think about it spot the FUD on the part of Ryan Mack and Kate Conger, criticizing the work Elon is doing at USAID. This guy isn't buying it, and in the 4-minute video here, you can listen to him talking about where they have gone wrong in their logic. Here's one from Jorge Milburn, at Jorge Milburn on X. Former Tesla leader here. These are my thoughts on the Tesla versus Uber debate on autonomous vehicles. It's another thread that I'm not going to have time to read you all of, if that's what you were looking for. This is going to be an easy thread for you to find and read through. If Tesla follows a saturation strategy, easy for me to say, in each market they enter, and then squeeze out rivals via price, then the market is theirs to take. There may be some hiccups in the short term with reliability and robustness of their stack, but these will be ironed out in due course. If when they solve this, the potential is quite unbound for Tesla to dominate the space, the ride-sharing space. And he replied, sorry, tagging Gary Black. All right, so that's funny. And I'll back out of here and keep going, show you the next thing that I liked from Robert Scoble. I went over to the other social networks today, armies of Elon haters. It is too bad that many will buy cars with inferior electronics and software that can't drive themselves. For those of us with FSD, we know what a life-improving technology it is. I will never buy another vehicle without it. But I continue getting heck from family and friends for being an Elon supporter, and I recognize this report to be true, that he has polarized people, particularly here in the US and Europe, and regulations have only allowed FSD in the United States, so buyers in Europe and China don't get the best feature Tesla has to offer. I'm still long on Tesla because the others won't catch up, but it will be a long year for Tesla investors. Elon's polarization is holding down the stock price, says Robert Scoble and not James Stevenson. Yeah, maybe he's right. I don't know. You decide. If Elon was universally loved, Tesla would be double what it is right now. Those who are expecting Tesla to pop like Palantir Tech has may be waiting a while. The effect has made social media polarizing too. I don't know how that all works out. Elon haters love the status quo, so makes it tough to read and participate in for me, since I am optimistic about the improvements technology is bringing. One last thing, also over in the others, I see a lot more about the layoffs that Meta had today. A lot of people were cut. I'm sorry for those who lost their jobs. I hadn't heard about layoffs at Meta, but I'm not surprised based on the comments I've seen from Zuckerberg lately about how they went a little overboard with the DEI stuff there, as lots of companies did. Here's one from Tesla AI at Tesla_AI, an official Tesla account. Hola Mexico. Breaking news, Tesla has released FSD beta for the first time ever in Mexico. So you got a good flag of Mexico here with a nerd face and a hushed face, and credit to Investio. I don't know what that's about, but good to see FSD beta in Mexico. Here's one from Jonna at JonnaCryer1. I don't know how you don't like this post. 6,000 people did. I don't have cancer, said Jonna. Both tumors were benign. One was an inflamed growth. However, it was fully removed. The other one was a tumor, but non-cancerous. No further treatment needed on both. So great stuff there from Jana. Here's one from Mirsal at Saiine. I probably butchered that pronunciation. I never grow tired of seeing these posts, then scrolling down to see James bring the facts. What are we talking about here? Let's scroll up and look. Oh, this post was deleted by the post author. All right, so now I have to remember what the... Oh, so somebody found a post from Elon saying, I'm going to look out for Tesla investors and make sure they're taken care of, or whatever. And I replied, and Tesla is up 53% since. And my post was getting enough traction that it caused the original poster to delete their post. But here's where Tesla was trading when Elon said that, and here's where it is now. At press time, 3:53.92 is where we entered the holiday weekend for President's Day in the U.S. Markets will be closed on Monday if you're watching this on or before Monday. And if you're watching it after that, it's old news to you. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt that I liked. It's worth noting that this procurement forecast was revised in December 2024 when Biden was still president. The Tesla line item was last modified on December 13th. So people are freaking out about how it's payola to Elon for having supported Trump during the campaign that the government is now going to buy $400 million worth of armored Teslas. Well, guess what? That decision was made by the Biden administration, and no changes have been made since mid-December on that purchase agreement for armored Teslas, which it doesn't specify which model it is, but come on, it's going to be Cybertrucks, right? For, I guess it was the Department of Homeland Security that was going to be buying armored Teslas. Let's see if it'll tell us right here. U.S. government currently planning to award Tesla a $400 million contract. The State Department's most recent procurement forecast names Tesla as the recipient of the largest projected contract. So there is a photo here, very suggestively implying that the Cybertruck will be the vehicle, as this is a Cybertruck in front of the U.S. Capitol building. Many of you will recognize that. Here's one from Tech Geek Tesla. I have a confession to make. I use Actually Smart Summon a lot, but not usually when I'm at a 24/7 Walmart at 10 p.m. buying a shovel for a pending snowstorm the next day. I think you'll enjoy this clip. So I have the same looking Tesla Model 3 with the Aero wheel caps on it and everything. That's how I summoned mine up to greet me, and he's lifting his trunk latch there and putting his snow shovel in. Another Tesla owner has stopped him.
Like by its own?
Yes.
Like we never tried self-drive.
Oh, okay. You should. It's great. Yeah, it's really great.
Thank you.
There you go. So another Tesla owner didn't know that you could summon your Tesla wirelessly, and found out by seeing it demonstrated right in front of them by a happy Tesla owner. This is at John BBC. So some of you may be following at John BBC. That's a heck of a good X handle. Here's one from S.E. Robinson Jr. that I liked, at S.E. Robinson Jr. News: the Toronto City Council has approved Mayor Olivia Chow's exclusion of Tesla from a $4.85 million vehicle for hire grant program. This is not a large amount of money, but this was a move Chow framed as sending a message to Elon Musk. It's called screwing your own citizens in an attempt to screw Elon. Yeah, the point of the City of Toronto program is to encourage taxi drivers in Toronto to buy electric vehicles. What did Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow do? She excluded Teslas from the program. Let me see if I replied here. I didn't reply here. I replied someplace. But yeah, it's not the amount of money that Tesla's going to lose out that is at issue here. It's this mayor being so wrapped around the axle over U.S. politics that she would force more pollution into her city as taxi drivers say, well, if I don't get this benefit to buy a Tesla, I'll just buy a gasoline engine vehicle and drive that instead. So now there's more pollution in the city thanks to excluding Tesla from this deal if they don't find another EV they would rather drive. Which is likely, right? What other EV do you want to drive that's at a comparable price point as a taxi? Like a Mustang Mach-E? Those are still pretty expensive, right? Let me know in the comments below which EV you would buy if you weren't allowed to buy a Tesla and you were a Toronto taxi driver. Here's one from Rebecca Winderman, MD, that I liked. Had dinner with a friend last night who rolled her eyes when I mentioned my excitement about Elon. I wasn't exactly in the mood to deprogram someone, but I did it for humanity. She had no idea about SpaceX, reusable rockets, Mars, and the mission to make humanity multiplanetary. Neuralink, giving paraplegics a chance to regain function. Tesla, its unmatched scaling and production efficiency. Oh, and also starting the world's transition away from combustion engine vehicles to electric vehicles. Elon's relentless dedication to pushing humanity forward. At one point, I turned to her and said, you realize he doesn't have to do any of this, right? He could be just on a yacht, never lifting a finger for the rest of his life. He could be enjoying himself in any number of ways that don't involve work every day for the rest of his life. But instead of doing that, he's working on all this stuff to make a better future for humanity. By the end of dinner, she was buying Tesla stock and setting up her X account. That wasn't my intention, and I've certainly outlived my Elon gospel days, but she asked, and Elon replied with the heart and the folded hands emoji saying thank you to Dr. Rebecca Winderman, Kids Gastro Doc. I rarely have energy for these conversations anymore. Been doing it since 2018, but sometimes you like someone too much to let them walk away uninformed, said Dr. Rebecca. Here's the next one that I liked. It came from Steven Spencer. Only 5 people liked this one, so probably you didn't see it, dear viewer, even if you are a subscriber of mine. Replying to the post we just saw, who is the better human being? A, limited interpersonal skills and behaves like a douche often, but spends their professional life improving the lives of others. Or B, great person to hang out with and have a beer with, but in their professional life markets junk food and tobacco. Which person is the better person? Person A or person B? It's not hard to figure out. Here's one from Dylan Loomis. I like the way you think, James. What are we talking about here? Let's scroll on up to Dylan's original post and read it first. The ultimate list of people/organizations that are destructive to the fabric of society and or can't be trusted. Bill Gates, anyone opposing Doge, Sam Altman, CNN, Gavin Newsom, anyone short Tesla, Justin Trudeau, MSNBC, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, Robert Reich, The View, Joy Reid, anyone pushing woke ideologies on children, George Soros. If you find yourself looking for information to shape your worldview from any of the aforementioned, it's time for you to course correct. Who/what did I miss? I replied, if you began the list, anyone who thinks Elon Musk is a net negative to human civilization, who would you still need to add? All of these people believe Elon Musk to be a net negative to human civilization. Wrongly. That's their problem. They don't have the facts. They aren't informed. They don't know Elon Musk like you and I do, dear viewer. Here's one from Satoshi. He goes by Sat on X. His handle is at SA_futurist. I've seen this for years, how legacy media not getting paid via billions of ads from Tesla would purposefully try to slander Tesla with bad news when it has nothing to do with the vehicle. Yet they went from selling a few thousands to millions, reposting me, asking, do you see the difference between this and this? So somebody in a Mini Cooper in Munich, Germany, intentionally plowed it into a whole bunch of people to try and injure and kill as many of them as they could in a terror attack. But not one headline or story mentions the brand or the model. When a terrorist blew up a Tesla Cybertruck in Las Vegas earlier this year, every article mentioned the model was a Cybertruck, and most mentioned that Tesla makes the Cybertruck. Now, why would that be? Why would that be? Satoshi has just explained it to you. He's been investing in Tesla longer than I have, 4 years longer than I have. He was investing in Tesla at IPO in 2010. Good for him. Satoshi's investment and faith in Tesla and in Elon has paid off. Here's one from Renata, at Renata Conkely on X, replying to me, specify the car's brand if it's not a Tesla, or draw 25. Here are the journalists who drew 25. They are going to lose their game of Uno. If you don't recognize the game Uno, your job is to empty your hand. You want to have as few cards as possible when you play Uno. But even if you gave them the choice between drawing 25 more cards to add to their hand or specifying the car's brand when it isn't a Tesla, they would draw the 25 cards. They would rather lose than identify a vehicle used in a terror attack by its brand or model, unless it's a Tesla. Here's one from Technostic. At Technostic, it already looks hilariously bad. What does? Let's scroll on up here. Oh, it is Car Dealership Guy 2 days ago on Valentine's Day, posting the Honda Civic is the most reliable new car for the money, with a 13.7-year lifespan and an average price of $27,564. It breaks down to just $2,006 per year, making it the best value for reliability and cost efficiency. Here's the rest of the top 5. I'm just going to make a separate video about this and post it, and then you won't have to watch me explain this twice. But here was how I replied, if you just want to see it right now, if you don't have time to watch another video. And here's that reply from Technostic saying, Tesla already leads in vehicle longevity and mileage. This study found the average Tesla already lasts 20 years against the 13.7 mentioned by Car Dealership Guy there. I'll keep moving before I do the whole separate video as part of this video accidentally. Here's one from Andrea S. James. It's not a new thing that Elon has his kids with him everywhere. I have a really sweet photo of him with 2 of his boys at the Model S Drive event in Fremont in October 2011. Earlier that day, he had been talking with investors while his boys wandered about, minded by nannies. Andrea S. James was there and took that photo herself. That's how close she got to Elon Musk and his kids at that event. Back when the Fremont factory was 90% empty. Like, there's video from back then of Jerome Guillen riding his bicycle through the factory and hardly needing to dodge anything. The thing was empty. It was a giant empty factory after NUMMI moved out, the joint venture between GM and Toyota, and they were going to close that factory anyway. They were happy when Tesla offered them $40 million for it, because I'm sure the rest of their options were a lot worse for how to liquidate a giant car factory like that. Andrea continues, it stood out to me because I had never seen such a thing from a CEO. Elon Musk was actually a role model for me. I brought all 3 of my babies on all my business trips. Note, I only took the photo because I wanted to capture for investors how the sedan fit 7 people. So people didn't know how you could put 7 people in a Model S. It's a sedan. How do you put 7 people in a sedan? That's how. with jump seats in the back. Elon had 5 kids that he wanted to drive around in his Model S with Tallulah Riley riding shotgun in the passenger seat up front with him. And so that's why Model S had jump seats, where the rear lift hatch was Model S seated 7 people, because that's how many people Elon Musk needed to drive around personally. So Franz had to make it work. He's told that story before. So good stuff there from Andrea S. James, who's been following Tesla for a lot longer than most people have. Here's one from CERN Basher. I can tweak my valuation model to get close to Gordon Johnson's valuation. All I need to do is keep auto deliveries at 1.8 million per year forever, and eliminate energy, and eliminate services and other, and eliminate Robotaxi, and eliminate Optimus, and eliminate AutoBidder, and eliminate AI inference, and eliminate the Tesla Semi, and eliminate anything else that's still inside Elon's head, and I still get a present value of $25 per share for Tesla stock, which is still higher than the price target of $24.86 from Gordon Johnson. That's his handle. If you want to follow a knucklehead who's been wrong about Tesla for a decade, almost coming up on a decade of being wrong about Tesla, that's Gordon Johnson. A literal 0-star analyst. He gets 0 out of 5 stars and an average return of negative 6.9%. So if you'd like your savings to disappear at a rate of 6.9% per year, follow the recommendations from Gordon Johnson, and that's what's going to happen to the money that you invest, if history is any guide. According to TipRanks, that's not according to me. TipRanks has the data on many thousands of stock analysts. Here's one from Truthseeker at Tesla Tommy 1. Waymo finally figured out a way to get their cars everywhere safely without LiDAR. You just put them on a Tesla Cybertruck. You let the Cybertruck drive them around without LiDAR. That's how Waymo finally figured out how to move their cars around safely. Here's one from Holmar's catalog at Holmar's blog. No, they do not. Reposting me with my little video that I clipped from Jay Leno's Garage, the episode with Franz and Lars. You can see this video if you go one post down this thread. You'll see the first reply has the link to the full hour-long episode, in which you can hear Lars Moravy, head of vehicle engineering for Tesla, say, I don't think people really realize how close fully autonomous driving is. And Franz agrees with him, the head designer for Tesla, and Omar also agrees. Most people don't know. I'm not talking about most of you, you know. I'm not talking about the Tesla community on X or elsewhere. I think the Tesla community, by and large, knows fully autonomous driving is coming. But most people out in the world don't know that cars are going to be driving themselves around with nobody in the driver's seat and with no steering wheel and with no pedals. Here's one from Danielle. Thank you. I 100% misinterpreted. That got a lot of likes. To her post here, I'm not going to read the post. You can pause it and read it if you want. Here's the meme in question that she was reposting. Watching Trump/federal programs knowing it doesn't affect you because you're not a member of the parasite class. The problem with this meme is that people think parasite class means different things when they see it. So that's how I replied. The parasite class are bureaucrats who come up with complex schemes to funnel taxpayer money to friends and family members through shady NGOs, non-governmental organizations, that in many cases are revealed to be governmental organizations when they lose their government funding and cease to operate, because that was the only funding they had. Alphabet agencies and phony charities, or who falsify applications for government assistance they don't legitimately qualify for. Elon is not taking any government payments away from anybody who legitimately qualifies to receive aid. That is not what he's talking about with the parasite class when Elon reposted this meme saying why 90% of America loves Doge, because Doge is going after fraud, waste, abuse, and theft from unelected bureaucrats who realize the unlimited money cheat code is to ask the Treasury to pay for something, and they will always approve it because they never turn down a request for funding. The Treasury always approves payments. It sounds shocking and like it can't be real, but you can go find the posts from Elon saying he has sat across from career Treasury employees whose job it is to approve payments, who told him they were supposed to approve everything and then let federal prosecutors decide who to go after and press criminal charges against. So they would just approve everything and hope that some large fraction of those folks would get caught and jailed when evidence was brought against them in court. I'm not sure how much of that was happening. Here's one from Alexandra Mertz that I liked. Her handle is Tesla Boomer Mama. While in Vegas, visiting former clients who came to the U.S. to launch their smoked salmon business, today they showed us their new huge facility. What a success story. So proud of them. Look at the giant lab coat they hung on Alexandra Mertz touring their food processing facility. Well, yeah, that's the kind of smock you have to wear when you work someplace that makes food. So a fun photo here. Here's one from Elon Musk. Just yup is all this says. It got 1,000 likes. Only Elon Musk can get 1,000 likes on yup. What was he yupping? It was that video we just saw with Lars and Franz.
We're doing it, fully autonomous rides in our engineering fleet right now and in Texas, and that's coming around the corner. And I don't think people really realize how close it is to just getting in a car, pressing the destination, and then getting there without even touching the wheel or the pedals. And that's going to be ubiquitous, I think, faster than we
and then
anyone imagines.
The absence of wheels and pedals because of that.
Exactly. Cybercab when we did the October event, no wheels, no pedals. What's not possible?
There you go. In case you didn't watch the video before, that's the whole thing. Short clip that I posted. Here's one from Omar. His description is Hallmar's catalog and his handle is Hallmar's blog. Now Sheryl Crow will be polluting the air in her 18 mile per gallon Range Rover instead to own the conservatives. We welcome the new owner to the Tesla family. Yeah, she didn't cause the Tesla to dematerialize. There's still going to be somebody driving the Tesla. It's just the new owner of the Tesla she sold. Sheryl Crow saying she sold her Tesla and donated the proceeds to NPR. All right. So there you go. Good angle on that from Omar. Here's one from Elon Musk saying thanks. To whom? To Mark Anthony. This was the nicest person I met at the Tesla Cybertruck first deliveries event. He offered to give me a ride to the after party, and I had been awake since 1 a.m. to catch my flight, something like that, because I wanted to do the whole thing in one day. And I did. It was a long day. And walking around that hot factory just took its toll on me. By the time I was in his Model Y on the way to that after party, I was like, hey, can we just stop someplace and eat? And so he took me to his rental place. It's actually Lincoln's place, Mob of Joggers on X. You may be familiar with Lincoln. I guess he had gotten a big rental for a bunch of folks, including Omar, who was there, and a bunch of others. And I hung out there and actually laid down in a bed there for a couple hours. And Mark took care of me, took me to the event later on that night. Couldn't be a nicer guy, and I couldn't have been happier to see Elon Musk reply to one of his posts. The sad truth is we haven't even come close to peak Elon Musk hate, and it's already getting really bad. Every great figure in history faced relentless opposition, and he, Elon, will continue to be hated by those unwilling to see. We love you, Elon. You're changing the world, with 2 flexed bicep emojis here. One of them is a mechanical arm. So Elon said thanks to that. Good to see. So I like both of those. Here's another one from Elon. Worth mentioning again. He said, posting my meme again, without attribution again. When you're finding fraud and somebody else stop, that's who's doing the fraud. I did get my watermark on here, so just pro tip to those of you who are making memes or would like to make more memes. Watermark your meme in case it grows legs and goes walking on its own. Maybe you will still get some followers if they bother to figure out what your watermark means and they find you on X. And the last post that I like this week came from Michael A. Arouette, at Michael A. Arouette. Can someone please explain why young people are so fascinated by socialism? It always ends in poverty and misery. Always. No exceptions. What are we looking at here? It is the GDP per capita from 1911 to 2022 for North Korea and South Korea. As you can see, that was the same country until the 1930s. So they were the same. It was one country. It was just Korea back then, and way less than $5,000 per person was what the GDP was back then. That they were not an industrialized society in 1911 or near it. And we don't have data from North Korea from 1942 until 1990, I guess, is what this says. So there's just a straight line drawn across here to indicate probably the data wasn't very much different from that. But look, since it's being generous to North Korea to say that they would have maintained this level. Probably they would have done what South Korea did and dip through the 40s before building back up to this level, which who knows if that level was right. And yeah, way less than $5,000 per person in North Korea. How is South Korea skyrocketing from the 70s to the current day in GDP per capita? Do you think maybe it's because the economic system, the government, is allowing free market capitalism in South Korea? Because what else could explain it? The culture? It's the same culture. The language? It's the same language. The people who live there? It's the same people who live there, right? The culture? Did I already say that? It's like a perfect A-B experiment here. Let's just divide a country in half. We'll let one of them be communist, we'll let one of them be capitalist, and we'll see if there's a difference. Well, there's a difference. This one works because this one rewards people who take a risk to try to make something valuable. And this one doesn't. That's my video for this week. So with that, we will check back in with Loki, who is curled up in bed sleeping. Before, I thank you for subscribing to me. I appreciate you. Each and every one of you who support me. You are what make this channel possible. I appreciate you, especially my executive producers, Kenta Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com, and I'll see you in the next one.